What is up, everybody? How we doing? How we living? Welcome back to Emphasis on Sports. As usual, I'm your host, Damon Anthony, and we do what we do. We kick the bubble about sports. We talk about all of them, too. This ain't just a one way, right? Yes, I do talk about the NFL more than anything else, but I love sports. All the sports. All of them, right? So let's get to it. All right. So last time we talked, we did our preview of NFL Week 6. We talked a little WNBA playoffs, a little MLB playoffs. Hey, look, everything's in full swing. Everything's in full swing, right? Let's start with the WNBA playoffs. So I pointed out last week, man, I gave a lot of props to Caitlin Clark, um, really just because of the eyes that she's bringing into the game. For myself, as well as a lot of other people who I've spoken to recently, and they're loving the eyes that are on it. But myself, just like them, want people to understand WNBA, it existed before this year. It did. And it's great to see. WNBA finals right now, tied 1-1. Minnesota Lynx, New York Liberty. For the Lynx, Nafisa Collier, balling. That's what she does. She's gonna score buckets. She's gonna play real hard. For the Liberty, you got Brianna Stewart. You got Sabrina Ionescu. They hoop. They get it in. Now, one of the things that I have noticed watching these games is the crowd is electric. I mean, absolutely electric. These are when you watch sports, you want the crowd to pull you in. Me personally, I get in my man cave. I put on the surround sound on the sports, so you really feel like you're there. I got sound coming from me here. I got sound up there. I got sound over there. Watching these WNBA playoff games has been really exciting, and I really love it. Now let's see how everything keeps going. Now, me personally, I did pick the Liberty. Walking into this series, game one, the Liberty should have won. Truth be told, um, but Minnesota had a late charge. Hey, look, and if you can't hold them off, you're going to go down. And that's what I saw. Now, it really does look like you got two evenly matched teams. This reminds me kind of like the Heat versus Dallas in 2011, where when you look at the Liberty, they're kind of like the Heat. They have two all-time like greats. They got two players that I believe, while I'm sitting here, they're going to make the women's basketball Hall of Fame. Truly believe that, 100% with Brianna and Sabrina. Now on the other side, just like Dallas had Dirk, Minnesota has Nafisa, and she's balling. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a really, really good end of the series. It is a 5-game series. Next year, they're going to turn the WNBA Finals into a 7-game series. I myself don't know why it hasn't always been there. Listen, it's basketball, period. If it's been 7-game series in one league, it can be a 7-game series in another league. No one can explain to me why it isn't or why it hasn't been. So I love the fact that they're changing this. So really looking forward to what the WNBA has to bring. Really looking forward to that. Major League Baseball playoffs. Major League Baseball playoffs is going off. Right now we're in the championship series. All right. On the National League side, you have the Dodgers and the Mets tied 1-1. Both of those games have not really been games. They've been a little bit more blowouts. But I really have enjoyed just watching the atmosphere. I mean, they've been in LA. Next stop is New York. And I'm telling you, when they're in Queens, when they're at Citi Field with the Mets, it's going to go down. It's going to be ridiculous. On the American League side, you got the Yankees and the Guardians. Whew. Yankees took home game 1, 5-2. As soon as we wrap up here, I'm going to go watch game 2, see what happens. Do I believe the Guardians can beat them? Absolutely. This Yankees team isn't the Yankees teams that we saw in the early 2000s, late 90s. That's just littered with just ridiculous players and all that. This Yankee team's very damn good. But I'll say what I've said before. I got a different feeling about this Guardians team. I'm not really worried about them being down 1-0. It's 1-0. If they can go ahead and take home tonight, come back to Cleveland 1-1, they're right in it. They are right in it. But also, one thing I do want to point out, it's kind of a great time for New York sports. Great time for New York sports. I mean, last night you had Jets, Bills, you had the Yankees at home. The Mets were playing. Yeah, I know they're cross country. You got WNBA finals. Hockey has started. Basketball's about to pop off, and we know the Knicks. There's a lot of expectation with the Knicks. There will be a basketball show coming up. There's gonna be two. One of them I'm gonna piss some people off. The other one I'm just gonna preview basketball. But it's been kind of cool for New York sports. Real cool. I'm gonna give you something else that's real cool on New York sports because now we're gonna switch speeds and hit the NFL. Two major trades today. Two major. One of them you can kind of see coming. I really don't know how much it helps. The other one tells me one team is through, absolutely through. So we've known for about a week or so that Devontae Adams, he wanted out of Vegas. We've known that. Well, he got his wish. Not only did he get his wish, but he got to go to the Jets. So we have the reuniting of Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I do not know how that's gonna play out. No one knows how that's gonna play out. There are times thus far where Aaron Rodgers looks a little old, especially with the shakeup with the head coach. And there's a lot of different weird things going on with the Jets. We don't really know how that's going to pan out. But one thing we do know is Aaron's happy. Devontae's happy. Maybe this turns into something. Maybe this gives them the push that they need. I'm not going to say that it will. I'm not 100% sure that it will, but there's always the possibility. Always a possibility. Other big trade. The Cleveland Browns send Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. This one, to me, it signifies that Cleveland is telling their fan base, we're done here. It's a wrap. We're not going to win. We know we're not going to win. So let's go ahead and trade off some of our assets and bring in picks. This I understand. This I get. A lot of people here up in Northeast Ohio, in the Cleveland area, are not really happy about this, but it's going to turn into a fire sale. To me, this just says that Deshaun Watson's days are numbered in Cleveland. I think the best thing for Cleveland to do is cut bait. Go ahead and fire sell a lot of stuff. Get as many draft picks as you can. Cut bait with Deshaun Watson. Draft a quarterback. Don't go bringing in a quarterback. Don't do nothing stupid, Browns. Don't go trying to pick up the best free agent. Draft a quarterback. Rebuild your team. Listen, it's Cleveland. They get it. The Browns haven't really been great for a long time. It's just what they are. They've had some moments when they look pretty good, but we're talking great, consistently great for years. It's been a very long time. I was a kid. So strip the whole thing down. Build the whole thing back up. Let's see what you got, Andrew Berry. Let's see what you got, Stefanski. This is what you need to do. If you keep Deshaun Watson around, your team is going to stay exactly what it is. I'm not seeing players want to come here. I'm not. Players wanted to come here, they would have. Got to do something. Right? So let's go ahead and recap week 6. Week 6 is in the books after last night's Monday Night Football game. Let's recap this bad boy. It's been a hell of a week, right? So we know, gotta love it. We know Thursday night the 49ers went to Seattle, took care of business. We already talked about that one. So we're not even going to go too crazy about that. But we know that they went and took care of business. We also know Cardinals lost. So now the 49ers are in sole possession of first place in that division. Up next is the Chiefs. Just got to keep it going. Just got to stay together, play together, get healthy, and just get it going. That's it. We'll talk about my preview for that Niners-Chiefs game next time we talk. But it's good to see the Niners get this dub and get in the right direction. Let's move on to Saturday. Or to Sunday. So Sunday morning, game in London. Jaguars, Bears. Typically, the Jaguars played pretty well outside of the country. This Jaguars team stinks. The Bears won 35-16. The Bears look good. The Bears actually came in there and looked like a really good up-and-coming team that's going to cause some trouble. Now, one part of it is the Bears look good. The other part of it is the Jags look terrible. And they continue to look terrible. I do not like at all to sit up and call for mass changes or someone's job or anything like that, because I think that's a real shitty way to think. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to call for a coach's job, that coach knows way more about football than I do, guaranteed. But This Jaguars team just doesn't look good. They don't look like they want it. They don't look well coached. They don't look well prepared. Um, Trevor Lawrence looks like he's taken two or three steps back, maybe four steps back. They just don't look like a good team at all. So big shout out to the Bears, Jaguars. You better get to work. You better get to work. All right, let's move on. Other 1 o'clock games. Packers hosted the Cardinals. Packers won that one 34-13. Kind of saw this one coming as far as from a Packers standpoint. Now Jordan Love, he's getting back into the game, getting back into the groove. We're starting to see a little bit of what we saw at the end of last year with him, which is going to be tough for a lot of people in the league. That being said, NFC North is a missile right now. A missile. All teams are 4-2 or better. That's crazy to think. That is absolute crazy talk. When you're sitting and you're looking at the Vikings undefeated, the Lions 1 loss, then both the Packers and the Bears 2 losses. Whew, tough money right there. Tough money right there. And we'll continue to talk about that division because I think that's the toughest division in all of football currently as we sit here today. And I think it's going to pan out like that throughout the year. Nobody really expected the Vikings to be what the Vikings are. I think everyone thought they were going to be the cellar dwellers there, but they're at the top. And it looks like every other one of those teams are building their case as to why they're the best team in that division. And it's really just good to see competitive, right? So then next game, Colts, Titans. This was an ugly one. This was an ugly one from the beginning. Not going to lie to you, Will Levis, he looks like he's maybe a year or two just from being an all right quarterback because right now he does not look really good. That team in general doesn't look really good. Calvin Ridley, he came out after the game, had some issues with not getting enough touches to get into the game in the first half, which I get. I totally get. But your quarterback has to give you those touches. They just do. Titans don't look like a good team. The Colts, they have some injuries. They look like an okay team. At the end of the day, it tells me that the AFC South is Houston's to lose. Jaguars look terrible. Titans, a little bit better than terrible. The Colts, they look like a team that could do something. Got to get them healthy. Got to see what they're made of. Because right now, listen, Joe Flacco, we know this from last year. Joe Flacco will take you to the playoffs. He's going to throw some picks too. He's going to turn over that ball. We've seen Joe Flacco run 18 miles an hour this year. We know that the guy can play. But let's get everybody healthy and see what these Colts are really about. Next game, Texans, 41 over the Patriots, 21. This one you see coming a mile away. Patriots, number one, they're not really that good, but they also started their rookie, Drake May. This was his first start as a quarterback in the NFL, so he had a lot to learn. Pair that with the with the Houston Texans, they're a good team. They walk in there with a pretty good defense, not great, but pretty good defense. C.J. Stroud and just weapons everywhere. This was a game for Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had been out for a couple games. This one, he showed up and he showed out. Not many notes on this one. Houston is Houston. They are much better than I think anyone thought they would be last year, and they're just moving that over to this year, which is ridiculous. Next game, Bucks Saints. This one, look, man, the Bucks put up 51. Bucks won this game 51-27. Now, typically, if your team puts up 27 points, you're in the game. You're close. Not when you give up a 51 burger. Not when Baker Mayfield's out there looking like a stud. Just are. I mean, he looks great. Now, on the Saints side, they did start Spencer Rattler. This was his first start. He is a rookie. There's a lot of different. Olave got hurt. Taysom Hill was out. But Dennis Allen is supposed to be a great defensive coach, and they gave up 51. That's tough. That is tough. Now, coming into the season, I was kind of waffling between the Bucks and the Falcons to take down that division. Still am. Still think it's those two teams. But as we head into week 7, Saints, Panthers, you're out of there. Figure it out. These are two of the teams that I look at and it's like, not very good. So this one to be 51-27, while it was surprising the final score, I did see the Bucks winning this. This one was kind of easy call. Another 1 o'clock game, we had the Browns at the Eagles. So this precipitated this Amari Cooper trade. The Browns, they're terrible. They're terrible. They look terrible. I hate it for the fans. I live up here. These are real fans. They love their team. Absolutely love their team. So to see the Browns look this way, be this way, it kind of hurts for them. But also, you got to know, as an Eagles fan, when the Browns are coming in, pretty much going to get a dub. That being said, the score was only 20-16. And if the Browns were even just all right, they may have snuck this one and won this game. Ended up not happening. Browns definitely, they're just bad. They're just not a good team. I mean, just watching them, you hang your head because it's like, wow. Every team in the league kind of looks better than them, except for maybe the Jags. But yeah, Browns lost this one. I don't know when they're going to win again. I just don't. I'm not going to sit here and say that, yeah, maybe they'll reel off one or two later. I don't know when they're going to win again. The only team that they beat this year were the Jags. Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Browns just aren't that good. So in probably the game of the day, from the excitement standpoint, there were two of them to me. But the Washington Commanders fell to the Baltimore Ravens 30-23. Now, I picked Baltimore in this. This one doesn't say anything bad about Washington because they're a team with a rookie quarterback who's playing ridiculously well. He's playing lights out. He's doing his thing. Everybody's eating. You're not seeing positional players kind of, where's the ball? I'm open. Because they know, do what you got to do. We'll get you the ball. But on the other side of the field, they got that man, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, absolute stud, absolute missile. Probably the most athletically skilled NFL quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, I'm going to put him above your Michael Vicks, your Randall Cunningham, Steve Young. I'm going to put him above a whole lot of people because what we're seeing out of him, just we've never seen before. And the guy knows how to win. He wants to win. Wants to get better all the time, which is something that we don't get to see too much. He doesn't look like he has an ego. He looks very humble, and he's going to get better, which is wild to say. Wild to say. But yeah, Ravens held home, held court in a battle of the Beltway, and they knocked off the Washington Commanders. We move on to those 4 o'clock games. Chargers Broncos. This was a game, not going to lie to you, really didn't have a lot of interest in at all. Even as I sit here, don't have a lot of interest in. Chargers won. They're not going to do anything. They just look like an all right team. Meanwhile, in Denver, the one positive that I will say is Bo Nix. He looks like he may be the guy in Denver. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but how do you play? How are you getting the job done? What are you doing out there? Are you making the right calls? Are you making the right reads? Are you hitting your check routes? Are you hitting your hots? Are you not turning the ball over stupidly? Bo Nix actually checks most of those boxes. So I think Denver has a bright future ahead of them, but this Sunday they lost 23-16 to the Chargers. Steelers Raiders. Hey, look, Steelers, you went in, you played the Raiders. The Raiders suck. We saw they just traded Devontae. The Raiders suck. They're just not a good team at all. At all. They're not. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they had to get off the schneid from losing to the Cowboys in that Sunday Monday game. The Steelers continue to look like just a solid team. Not great, not world beaters, not Super Bowl contenders, but a solid team, a team that's building to get there. Now, the funny thing with them is Justin Fields has started every game this season. Now we're getting a little bit of talk out of Tomlin that maybe Russ. Justin Fields has been getting better and better and been reeling off some W's. Why mess that up? Why fuck that up? That's strange to me. That's really strange to me. On the other side of the ball, the Raiders, especially after getting rid of Devontae for picks, you don't know if they're going to be on a little bit of a fire sale like the Cleveland Browns. But I will tell you this, the Raiders, you're done. You're done for the season. You're not vying for anything. You're done. I think they know that and they get that. Hope their fans know that and get that, because this is a wrap in Vegas. Huge, 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 huge game. So for me, the two games I was really looking forward to seeing on Sunday: Washington Commanders, Baltimore Ravens. The other game I was looking forward to seeing: Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. And this one did not disappoint. So my prediction, I was dead wrong, because I felt like this is one of those games that everything's stacked against Dallas. They'll eke it out and they'll win. Boy, was I wrong. I was loud wrong. Very wrong on this one. Because the Lions walked into Jerry World and they beat the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. Final score 47-9, but it was never that close. It was never that close. Not only did they go out and just kick their ass, but they had fun while doing it. And they didn't care at all. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of that. You don't want to blow a team out or do too much to a team, because you may see them again, and that may drive that team a little bit. You know, what do they say? You don't want that chalkboard material. Detroit didn't care about that shit. They didn't care at all. We're going to put chalkboard material. Penei Sewell, let's see if you can get a touchdown. Let's send a lineman out there on a route, see if you get a touchdown. Oh, we got in trouble in the playoffs because you said that there was an ineligible man downfield that hadn't checked in. So we're going to check people in, and we're going to try and score. And we're going to stomp in your face. All of this stuff was happening in the second half when the game was well out of hand. Because that 47-9, that was 3 field goals by Dallas. Dallas looked pitiful, absolutely pitiful out there. They look like a team that I don't think is going to make the playoffs. I think at best they're the third best team in their division. Only better than the Giants, maybe by a little bit. Where on the other side of the field, Detroit's getting scary. Right now, I will say Detroit looks like the best team in the NFC. I know that Minnesota is 5-0. I know that. I get that. Detroit looks like the best team in the NFC. And they can get better. They really can get better. Now, the sports guy in it, I love it. Because, I mean, it's Detroit. You know, you grew up watching Barry and Herman Moore and the coach, Wayne Fonts, and all of that. And you know, they're all right. You're like, it's the Detroit Lions. They're coming. They're tough. And as a 49er fan, it's the only team in the NFC that I'm even worried about, even a little bit. Nobody else, I don't think, can beat the 49ers in the playoffs. I think Detroit can. So we'll see what happens there, because that's going to be a huge one. Last of the 4 o'clockers, Falcons beat the Panthers 38-20. This one, you definitely saw coming. The Panthers, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. They're not as terrible as the Browns or the Jags, because coming into this season, no one expected the Panthers to be good. Browns and Jags, there were a little more expectations, a little more hopes, and they were just spat in the face of those. But the Falcons, they continue to be one of those teams that they're getting a little better week in, week out. Remember, they got a brand new quarterback, brand new coach. When you have a new coach, you got new coordinators, you got a whole new system. Everyone has to learn that and work into that. Bringing in Kirk Cousins was the best move, because what Kirk is a pro, an experienced pro. And when you have a pro, those pros know how to walk in and say, all right, let me look around. These are the things I know how to do. We'll do those. We'll lean on those. And you just start teaching everything else to everybody else, and we'll fit that into. That's what I'm seeing out of Atlanta. That is exactly what I'm seeing out of Atlanta. I really think that this division is going to come down into the season, them and Tampa. And we'll just see what happens. Now, on the Atlanta side, let's see some use. Let's look. You got Kyle Pitts. You got Drake London. You got Bijan. You got Mooney. Spread that thing around. Spread it around. You got to. We'll see how that works. But the Falcons look like they're going to be all right. Other side of the ball, complete dumpster fire over there in Carolina. The only thing is they can change up some things. They can make some moves just to get the team better for the long run. They're not beating nobody, not too many wins this year. They're not going to be a great team this year, but you got to set them up for the future because that's the smart thing to do. All right, let's move to Sunday night. Bengals knock off the Giants 17-7. This one, boring game. Absolute dud. Don't really have a lot for this one. Do I think the Bengals are good? No. I don't think that maybe they go on a hell of a run, but I really don't think so because they're still going to have to play Baltimore. Still going to have to play Pittsburgh. And within the division, they're still going to have to play the Browns. But the Bengals they're just a team to me. Same thing with the Giants. Nothing special about the Giants at all. So winning this one 17-7, hooray, hurrah, sweet. Move on. Monday Night Football. So this Monday Night Football game, Bills-Jets. The Bills won 23-20. I will tell you, the most boring second half that I've seen of a game for a very long time. Yes, there were some terrible calls. Yes, there was some weirdness to this game. But the Bills are doing what they need to do. You win. You just go in, you get the dub, you move on, no matter what. The Jets, there's a lot of things. A lot of different turmoil, a lot of weirdness there. Paul Hackett, you're the offensive coordinator, but you're not calling calls. Defensive coordinator, now you're the coach. Quarterback coach, I think that's the dude. Now you're the play caller. Now let's go ahead and get Devontae Adams in there. It's all fine and dandy. It's all good. Are you going to get some offensive linemen? Are you going to give Rodgers a little bit of room back there? Now, we did get to see them use Brees some. We did get to see him hit Garrett some. We know from his Packers days, Allen Lazard is his guy. Now he has Devontae. Somebody going to block for him now? Is somebody going to keep Aaron Rodgers upright? I don't know. I just don't know. Meanwhile, on the Bills side of the ball, now they go out and actually get a number one receiver, which can be scary for everybody. Because from what we've been seeing, and the reason why I wasn't sure about the Bills going into this year is because their receiver room really didn't look that great. But I did say a couple times that to me, Amari Cooper is the most underrated number one receiver. Well, now he's up there with Josh Allen. Josh Allen gonna throw him that rock. So this very well may make the Bills better. We shall see. We shall see. Jets, I think they're just going to be a middling team. Maybe they still can make the playoffs. I don't think they win the division. But because of the fact that the Dolphins are a little banged up, and I don't think that they're going to make too much of a push. And the Patriots they're not that great. They have their rookie quarterback getting it together. They very well may make the playoffs. When I looked at it, when I thought about it, right? So in the AFC West, you're going to have the Chiefs. AFC North, you're going to have Baltimore. AFC South, you're going to have Houston. None of those other AFC South teams are going to make the playoffs. Maybe the Steelers make the playoff. I don't know. None of these AFC West teams, I don't think are playoff teams. But what you could have Bills, Jets, Steelers. It would be kind of cool. You get the Jets, you get the Steelers, and then you kind of throw anybody else that you want in there. And we'll see what happens. And that's what the season is kind of turning into, for me, at least. I'm liking a little bit of the parity. I'm liking the fact that there's only two really good by the record teams in the league. I love it when a lot of teams actually are still there and still vying for it before November hits. At the end of December, we'll see what happens. Now, there are some teams that are out of there. Beginning of December, we shall see what happens. That being said, I'm going to get up out of here, y'all. So, coming up this week, we got to talk about rivalries. I've been talking about it. We got to talk about rivalries. I've been consumed with rivalries. NBA's on its way. We're going to talk about the NBA. We definitely got to talk about the build-up, maybe, who I think is going to actually do well from a team standpoint, from a player standpoint. I'm also going to have one episode on probably the biggest and dumbest argument in sports, at least in the last 15 years, maybe 10 years. Who's the GOAT NBA player? I hear a lot of LeBron James. Listen, anyone that wants to tell me that LeBron is the best basketball player ever, you never watch Mike play. But we'll talk about that because there's other players that's in that mix. I saw a picture of a bunch of NBA superstars, and it said, "Who's the best player?" Well, looking at that, there's one or two players that LeBron's one of them. I'm looking and I'm like, man, you ain't better than any of these guys. Talk about that, right? So until then, y'all be good. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever you're doing. Be good or be good at it. Until next time I see you, I will holler.